but it's not in the case. Awesome Demura simple syrup recipe. Demerara, sorry.
Demerara.
But speaking of which, quick shout out to Sink or Swim.
Yes,
they make
that. I was ready to do this. I want to shout out Sink Your Swim.
Right.
That sounded so gay.
That's what I do. I get together with a bunch of other men that wear skirts. We play music and drink.
I think he's half woman. He's got a micro penis.
Inside.
I gotta pee so fucking bad, Jonas. Okay.
Yep. Test.
Yep.
Light it low, another night, another show. Good friends, good poor stories about past, because it's more than what's in the glass. Welcome to the Wicked Whiskey Podcast.
What's up, everyone? Matt Clark.
And I'm John Mondu.
And we are the Wicked Whiskey Society. I just want to say welcome back for episode 2 of the Wicked Whiskey Podcast. Today we have some special guests. We got Eric and Rob from the Smoke Eaters Cigar and Whiskey Club, also known as Logger and the
Nordic Piper.
Nordic Piper. That's right. Introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about how the Smoke Eaters got together. How'd you guys start out?
Sure. So I'm Logger. And the way Smoke Eaters got their start was I was in a firefighters motorcycle club, international club for a long time, 8 years or so. And as a station, we all kind of got disillusioned with the way National was going, made our own firefighters club called the Smoke Eaters, which is no longer in existence, but the name stuck, and Piper and I both have time in the fire service. And so we decided to keep it, to honor the fire service. So Smoke Eater Cigar and Whiskey Club was born. And at the time we started the channel, Smoke Eaters MC was still a thing. While it is no longer, the Cigar and Whiskey Club is still in full effect. But that's pretty much how we got our start. It's me and Piper for the most part. My brother Darky will join us here for cigar reviews. He doesn't drink anymore. But why don't you tell him about your name, bud?
My name's Eric. My handle is Nordic Piper. That comes from I'm a bagpiper. One of my hobbies. Play bagpipes in a local pipe band. I got into started out with Scotch in the pipe band. My instructor, my tutor, Scottish guy, got me into started out with the unpeated stuff, graduated to the peated stuff. I know, John, you're not a fan.
Neither is Logger.
The Walmart tires.
The Walmart tires.
But, kind of graduated from there. I blamed the bourbon rabbit hole on Logger as we got into the cigars, and then started down the rabbit hole between rum and tequila and then bourbon.
I blame mine on John.
Yeah.
I blame mine on my wife.
Just blame me.
I just blame my wife because, listen, I had to keep my sanity somehow.
Right.
Just kidding, honey.
So, what's like a bottle that's like special to you? Something that you would crack on either like a special occasion, or is there like a special bottle that like every time you drink it, it reminds you of like a certain time and place, just like a good memory or something like that? Or
why don't you take that off, Piper?
I got to pick just one. There's a few that I could probably put into that category. One, I'm not going to go into too much detail because you guys are getting a sample of that. That's that special pick that's coming to you. Another one that I've been holding off killing is the Jack Daniel's Heritage that we end up getting. So when we first really were starting to get into this, a bottle we ended up picking up one of the local places there, and we were looking forward to it. Logger had seen it there, saw some good reviews. We ended up going in on the bottle together and grabbing it. So we did our first on location video, picked that bottle, and ended up having some samples. And we had shared custody. So, on a weekly basis, we'd rotate through the bottle.
He's a terrible parent, by the way.
But lo and behold, we didn't notice it right away. It ended up being the barrel was bottled on my birthday this past year, December 15th, 2025. So I've been very reluctant. I probably got about a pour and a half left in it, and I'm probably going to be saving it until my birthday this year, and I'll end up going ahead and killing it.
Yeah, so you're turning 97 this year?
Yeah, not quite.
Honestly,
49 this year.
Honestly, funny enough, the first Jack Daniel's single barrel barrel proof Tennessee whiskey I got was actually bottled on my birthday in 2025. So that was kind of a cool detail.
Yeah.
But like he was saying, we started out really doing Scotch, tequila, rum, and then we transitioned to bourbon. We really didn't start getting heavy into bourbon until late last year. And one of my local liquor stores, they got their Stag and Van Winkle allocations in. I entered the raffle, the lottery. I was the fourth call, but the third person that wanted something, and my choice ended up coming down for $200 between a Blanton's Gold and a George C. Stag. I, of course, chose the George C. Stag because I'm smart.
As I would.
As smart as I want to say that I am, I thought I was overpaying on a Stag Junior because they just said Stag. And I walked in there and I'm like, oh shit, that's Big Brother Stag. And MSRP on those is $150. $200 is not much of a markup. Like, I literally could have turned around and sold it for 4 times what I paid if I so chose. But that's not what I'm in it for. I want to drink the whiskey.
Not what it's about.
And so for being, 3 months into my bourbon journey, to be able to come home with a B-tag, let alone the first hazmat Stag in, 9 years, is pretty special. I still have it. I maybe have 2 pours left in it. Next one I'm going to have is going to be next weekend, Father's Day. I did my fair share of, sharing it around, blinding it and stuff like that. But, that was about half the bottle was, sharing it, blinding it, stuff like that. And so the rest of it, I decided, it's going to be for me for special occasions. And that's where I'm at with it. So I'll probably have a pour on Father's Day, and my guess is I'll kill it over the holidays.
That's awesome. Guys? That is a good bottle. So I guess I'll say mine. Mine's very similar. It's not the George T. Stag, but it is Junior, the little one, the little guy. So my brother-in-law John, as you know, he's going through the ALS thing, and before all that even started happening and stuff, he wanted to pick my brain. So he said, let's get your brother. I want to take you guys out. Let's go somewhere. Do you know any good places to get drinks? I said, yeah, my buddy owns a speakeasy down in Marblehead. Let's go down there. So my brother was working. We ended up going down there, just me and him. And, I could tell he was kind of nervous. And I already had a feeling. I knew what he wanted to say. He wanted to propose to my sister. And it just kind of, put 2 and 2 together. So this is like in the beginning of my journey, too. So I never had tried Stag, and I really wanted to. So he was like, get 2 of them. So I was like, all right. And then it was 23C. 23C, and we both tried it. We both really enjoyed it. It was really special. And then he, popped the question to me, can I marry his sister? And I was like, already saying yes, because I already knew it was coming, and he's a great guy. And so we celebrated with another Stag. And then every single time now that I get a Stag, I think of him. I want to go show him. I want to crack it with him. It's very special because of that moment. So every time I get a Stag now, every time I crack it, it's just very meaningful. And, I think of John, and really wish we could share pours together. But unfortunately, with everything that's going on, can't really do that with him anymore. So that's my special bottle.
From here on out, I every time I pick up a Stag, I'm going to think of your story. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like,
that's a cool thing. It's kind of like what. Yeah, that's a cool thing. It's kind of like what we do a lot of the times in our own personal group, where everybody actually has a bottle, a good story, or good memory with a certain bottle, and we'll all get together and all stuff on that special occasion, and we'll all crack us like for Matt and all stuff. Whenever he actually like says it's like, hey, it's one of those days and all stuff, I need to actually like crack a stag. Everybody in the group is going to actually sit there and go cheers, and we're actually all going to crack a stag with him. Hal is Pipe Dream. Me personally, mine's an Eagle Rare. Any Eagle Rare and all stuff, it's kind of like my emotional support bottle. So, yeah. Yeah, definitely. I saw those, and it's like, oh, that would be a beautiful bottle to have. So mine, Eagle Rare, it actually, goes from a long line of different things, different episodes in my life. From everything from like the first sip that I actually had with my father to actually a friend giving me a bottle for my housewarming gift and then passing away. And then another friend actually during the whole BTAC weird craziness several years ago where nobody could get anything and I was running really low on my Eagle Rare. I had another friend and all stuff, Ed Woods, and he was another one that, there was a whole story around that and all stuff, but he ended up actually gifting me a bottle. He signed it himself, and I still have that bottle to this day, where
Awesome.
he signed it, and then he actually sadly took his life, and so Eagle Rare just over the time and all stuff has been, like an emotional roller coaster. So every time I'm actually having a bad day, or it's my father's birthday, or the date of his passing, we all kind of crack an Eagle Rare. So that's a
Nice.
a downer kind of subject, but it is what it is. That's my special bottle. And it's not a great bottle, but it is, a bottle out there that will always mean something to me. So.
Funny you mentioned Hal. I just happened to be drinking Pipe Dream too.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Nice.
Shout out to Hal, our one-liner.
Kind of want to smoke a tobacco pipe now.
It's so good. That toast is awesome. So tonight's topic actually is going to be a little bit different. It's not so much more about the whiskey, but more of your relationship with the whiskey. Obviously we spend stupid amount of time talking about it, chasing it, hunting stores, sharing pours, stuff like that. But realistically, what is your relationship with whiskey? The camera. Is it something that you can control? Is it controlling you? Like, we'll get into this later with dry weeks and stuff, but is it something that you like can just walk past and not crave? Because obviously as bourbon enthusiasts and whiskey enthusiasts, I mean, this is what we love to do. We love bourbon. We love whiskey in general. And, we do the reviews and we chase the bottles and stuff. But if all that were to go away and stuff, would you, constantly catch yourself reaching for the bottle? So we'll get into that a little bit. I'll let John take over because he's actually the one who brought the light on to me with all this stuff. And I started talking to Rob about it and figured this would be a good thing to kind of talk about and bring up.
Yeah, so again, go with Matt's first question and all stuff is how do you actually feel your relationship with, spirits in general? It doesn't have to be just bourbon, but because I know you said you came from Scotch or you came from tequilas, so it's just spirits in general and all stuff. How do you feel that the hobby is actually taking your relationship with the spirits? Is it it always seems to be like in a positive note, but behind the scenes, how's it treating you?
Yeah, no. I think that's a great question. For myself, I find myself, probably 2-3 times a week that I'm having multiple pours of something. Obviously Thursday night is my band practice week, and usually, a couple of us will bring a bottle, or we may have, a craft beer or this or that. So usually Thursday nights are our band gathering. That's part of it. We're playing, usually sharing a bottle or two. Then with Rob, our Sunday afternoons, we have our cigar and our bourbon reviews. And then on, Tuesday nights that we get together, we usually do one or two reviews. And, then it's, family time there with getting to spend with our grandson and stuff and with the family. And then outside of that, yeah, I might have one pour outside of that, but usually not. Most of the time it's just those particular days of the week. Maybe on a Friday, I'll have a pour to commemorate the end of the week, especially this past week that was extra long, being a 6-day work week for me. But
Yeah.
And for me, I would say that I have a pour more often than Piper does. For the most part, it's more out of enjoyment of the whiskey than it is like oh man, I had such a shit day. You know what I mean? Like, are there times where I've had a dog shit day and I'll look at my bottles and go, "Hey, boo, yeah."
Mm.
But
Yeah.
I try not to. I try not to go that route with it. My wife and I have designated Wednesdays and Thursday nights family nights, and if I have a pour, it'll be on the second night, and it will be one. And I ask my wife if it's okay first, because I try not to drink every single day, because I know that while it might start out of a sense of enjoyment, that will at some point turn into a dependency, and that's not something that I want. I don't want to find myself craving. I do my best to not drink out of stress or anything like that. When I drink, I want to drink because, hey man, I'd really like a pour of this. That sounds good. That's the level I want to keep it at. And there have absolutely been times where I'm like, dude, I'm doing too much. Like I'll find myself having more than one pour on a given night, and at the time you're like, whatever, but you wake up the next day and you go, man, I can't keep doing that.
For me, it's kind of hard to, I like that camaraderie, for me, yeah, I can have one pour while I'm sitting relaxing at home by myself, but I get more enjoyment out of sharing a bottle, so our band nights on Thursday night, the select group of us bring a bottle or two to share, and that camaraderie around there, or like we do on Sundays, to me it's more, I don't get as much enjoyment out of drinking alone, so I might have that one pour just for a sip of something, but I'd rather enjoy my bottles with family and friends. I get more enjoyment out of that.
Yeah, for me personally, I'm the same way. Like, I will absolutely drink more in a social setting.
I think the majority of us, actually do have that same kind of, like, I'd rather drink with a buddy, or I'd rather drink with like a family member that means something and all stuff. So I think, but what I was kind of like more, which is, that social drinking thing and all stuff is everybody does it. Everybody, even if you're not into bourbon and all stuff, and you're drinking White Claws, with your hair up and whatever, you're social drinking, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That's actually how friendships actually are born. So over a drink, over a conversation, over even a cigar or something like that, you're actually like bringing a common functionality or a common thing together to make an actual friendship. And that's actually where most of and I know you guys have actually seen this, especially in the Instagram world and social media and all that stuff, where it's like the bourbon community and some of these communities that we're actually part of are so into that. They so want to actually have you come in and have a pour and drink. And so what my more thing is like the things that you kind of touched on and all stuff is like, we all you know, every once in a while in our lifetime and actually have had either a stressful burnout, day from work or family pressures or,
Mhm.
anxiety or something that's actually happening where you want to actually go and grab for a bottle just to fix it. Use it as a crutch, kind of like get yourself away and all stuff. But we've all probably done it. Um, it's just
Yep.
to what
Yep.
extent does that actually cause a problem in your bourbon, journey? And I know Matt actually has been going through a lot of rough times, specifically. And when I brought the whole dry week issue up to him, um, Matt, tell me how that went. How did it actually take you over?
So I remember I got laid off from work. I was off. I don't know. I think I was already off at a week at a time. It was a week. I was laid off already, and I was going into the second week. And I'm getting upset. I just want to get back to work. I want to provide. I want to make money. I want to keep my family, up and everything happy. And I think it was a Tuesday. I actually hit up John to see what he was up to, and went out there and we lined up. Well, actually, we went over there. I went over there just to talk, and we started talking about Jack Daniels and stuff, and then we ended up lining up the whole Jack Daniels thing. And I think it was that time we ended up mentioning the dry week, and I actually ended up giving it a go. I think it was like the last week of my layoff, and at first it was tough because I was kind of using it as a crutch at the time because I was home all week. I'm in my head because I just want to go out and provide and I want to make money. And so I was just reaching for the bottles, instead of just drinking it for enjoyment. So when I first did the dry week, it was kind of tough, but you take control of it. You gotta at some point, when I went back to work, started realizing, I was drinking every single night, every day actually, like night and day. And when I went back to work, I kind of keep it, just weekends. And but at first, yeah, that dry week was kind of tough. But yeah, over time, obviously, you see it and you recognize it, and you gotta tell yourself, you gotta take a hold of this, and you gotta manage it because you can't just drink every single night like that, especially if you're using it as a crutch. Because then you keep doing it, and alcohol is a dependency. Like you end up, just becoming dependent on it. And that's when it starts to get harder to get away from it. So you gotta try to nip that in the butt, as soon as you recognize it. Take that dry week, see where you're at. You know, are you reaching for the bottle? Are you craving it? Can you go a couple days without drinking it? I was saying, my tolerance is I've become quite the proof for. And definitely, I think that dry week helps reset that palate, reset the proof, because then you start to underappreciate the lower proof stuffs like the Eagle Rares or the bottle and bonds and stuff. You're so used to drinking higher proof stuff and getting different notes and stuff. When you go down to those lower ones, you don't get the same expressions and such. It's such a good bottle.
It is a great bottle.
Actually, a point that I didn't even really kind of realize now too, which actually would probably be good to mention, especially with men's mental health and tying it into mental health. But at what point does collecting become an obsession? It's almost like gambling. People who have an addiction and they gamble. Sometimes they can't stop. And I know the whole bourbon community jokes about it and stuff. Bringing home another bottle to the wife and getting the eye rolls and but actually, I mean, it is kind of an addiction. It's the fear of missing out, and you want that bottle, and then you hunt it and you get it, and you get that dopamine once you have it. You can't wait to drink it, and share it, and stuff.
No doubt.
There's got to be
I've
there's
got,
got to be a point.
So my
Go
wife
ahead.
and I had this conversation here recently.
Don't talk about my mom.
And actually, where I'm at right now, it is, because looking back since the first of the year, just how much money I spent. I went from having 5, 6 bottles at the beginning of the year to now I'm up to, close to 70 bottles on the shelf. And so, we kind of had that conversation, like maybe we need to slow down a little bit. And so now we kind of compromised on that $250 a month budget. And then I kind of even said to her, I said, yeah, I said, maybe for, the next couple of months, I'll stick to, $200. Then if I want to go over that, we'll discuss it, look at finances, etc. But, I try to keep myself limited at that $200 per month budget for right now.
Right.
So
Well,
he's
unlike
being nice
Rob and all
about
stuff,
that.
where he probably hides most of his bottles from his wife. Communication with
She don't pay enough attention, man. I could just walk in with a bottle and she'll think it's something I already had.
But it
I
brings
just
up a
gotta
good
hide it,
point.
just right. But Piper says, nice things about his wife, which is my mother, and shut the fuck up. And what he fails to mention is those conversations are not normally calm, cool, and collected, and that goes for me as well. My wife has started to become much more supportive, genuinely. She's asking questions, and I'm trying to educate her as I will. But like, if I have her try something, it's yep, that's alcohol, all right. And I ain't gonna lie to you. If 5 years ago, I'd have told you the same thing. I do think there is, for the most part, um, an age factor to having a palate for whiskey or tequila or just harder liquor in general. Because I didn't get the palate for it until very recently. I'm 36 now, and I did not have the palate for it 5 years ago.
Right.
And cigars were my gateway into harder liquor, spirits, what have you, in general. Pairing them with tequila, rum, whiskey, you name it. And then I found myself, like, before I would go to have a cigar, because a cigar is heavy on your palate, that taints your palate. I know what paired well with it, but I would sit there and take a sip or two of whatever I was pairing it with prior to lighting up, so I could see how I felt about it on a clean palate. You know what I mean? And that is what really started developing my appreciation for the craft, for, bourbon, scotch, tequila, rum, you name it. But, having a spouse on board with you as opposed to just rolling their eyes, which is what both of ours used to do.
Yeah.
No,
They've been much more supportive recently, seeing the outreach, right? Like like just what we've done with John, Matt, with putting a fundraiser out there, and in the Amazon wish list for stuff that your sister and brother-in-law need. Just seeing the community outreach from that has been absolutely incredible. I mean, I didn't advertise those at all. Like, those got the views that they got 100% naturally. And that speaks to this community as a whole. So, we talk about the wives and stuff, but I think at this point, both of our wives have started to realize that to your guys's saying, it really is more than just what's in the glass.
Right. My wife, I would have to say it was kind of the same. She's very supportive of it, and I'm expecting some whiskey Father's Day gifts, so that kind of shows the appreciation she knows I have for it and everything. And at first, yeah, you get the eye rolls and stuff, but especially like you were saying after the whole you helping me out, pushing out the GoFundMe and stuff with John, and I was showing like my family and my wife, especially the response. We got over $500 just from the bourbon community. I mean, and that was just from those two videos.
Awesome.
I've had other members of the community donate before that too, and then people don't even know, just buying stuff off the Amazon list just to help out. And it was all through the bourbon community. And it shows you exactly what we say, is that it's more than what's in the glass. It's not just about the bourbon. It's not about just drinking.
Yeah.
It's the community itself around the glass.
And
we are all here for the same juice, and we all here for the same appreciation of the bourbon. But on the outside of that, it's a whole nother world, man.
yeah, and to that point is I've been part of a lot of different communities or groups,
Yep.
and on Instagrams, on Facebooks, all types of social medias, to going to car clubs, gun meets, and everything. I have not actually had the community feeling, as well received and as supportive as those guys that are guys and gals that are actually sitting there enjoying, a glass of bourbon or scotch or tequilas more than I actually have, right now. This has actually been an amazing journey and all stuff. I've been doing, drinking and since, again, 19, when I actually like standing around getting fights with trees with Jack Daniels. Tree one because they were surrounded. They were surrounded by their friends. Big forest. They have all their friends. So, but I've been doing this. Maple. Yeah, it was a pine. Come on, maples are actually too nice. But at the end of the day, it is like we say all the time. It's more than what's in the glass. It's the community around there. It's the feeling of being accepted, no matter what political race you actually are in, or what sexual orientation you are. Whatever, it doesn't matter, because we're not caring about that stuff. So. When Rob and Eric and all stuff are playing their, we don't judge.
What's great about this too is, like, I feel like it's so much easier to spark a conversation when you find out that person knows about bourbon.
Does not mean anything else.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does.
So, like, if you're in a room full of random people and you don't know anybody, I feel like it's a lot harder, obviously, to spark up a conversation. But as soon as you find out someone is into bourbon, it's like instantly you got hours of conversation. Yes. It's just instant. 100%. You want to be friends with them, you want to talk about them, you want to express everything. And that kind of brings me into a quick little story. Is again, it's about John and the ALS thing, but I work for a company called Costello Dismantling, and we had a job in Rhode Island where we were doing a demo on a hospital. And the company that was the contracting company was Suffolk. And during orientation, we got to go through the safety briefs. The guy, Mark, he's an Army veteran. He's going through who he is, and then he's like, I have 100 and something bottles at my house, and he's just going off and he's talking about bourbon. So instantly I'm like, yes, like, I want to hear more about this. So then, after the orientation, I went to work and I was chipping up a floor, and he happened just to walk into the room, and I stopped, and it was just instantly like, I want to know more about your collection. I want to know your story with your bourbon. So, like, and again, he's the safety guy. Who wants to talk to the safety guy? Nobody. You know what I mean? You want to stay as far away as you can from him when you see him coming. He came in and I was like, let's talk about bourbon, man. And the thing is, he has this, there's like a charity thing through their company called the Giving Circle. And I feel like as if he hadn't had that conversation about the bourbon and stuff with me, like, I wouldn't have really talked to him, and I probably would have never found out about this organization that helped donate a very generous amount of money to my sister. And realistically, when it comes down to it, it was the bourbon that brought us together. It was the bourbon that made me want to talk to him and conversate with the safety guy. And then, we ended up building a relationship, and he wanted to help me after he found out what I was going through. And, yeah, never.
Never.
And because of that,
with a child.
Because of the bourbon community, man, I blame that. So, because of this community, again, we came together about the bourbon, but again, it was more than what was in the glass. And he ended up helping me out with that generous donation for my sister, which helped them tremendously, because they were in New Hampshire, and it basically helped them move back to Massachusetts, get settled into a place, get them kind of back on their feet, and get them where they needed to be, where John can have more medical help and stuff. So again, this community, I'll say it time and time again, is the best community I've ever been a part of. And I'm sure almost anyone in this community can agree with that. I've never heard anyone say this community sucks. Like,
Oh, it does, because it costs me a lot of
That's when
money.
we get together and throw a blanket party.
that's the goal. That was another thing I was going to bring up too. Is I mean, the the cost, like, kind of going back to what we were talking about. Is it a problem at one point? Like, you got to step back and realize what you're spending.
Yes.
I mean, there's a bottle. You see it. You've been hunting it. It's like $200. Well, actually, my point is this: I'll nitpick at the grocery store. I'll put this $15 steak back and get the $13 steak, and I'll go and buy a cheaper something else. But I'll fucking drop $80, no problem, on a fucking bottle of bourbon that I've been searching for. No problem. Like, yeah, take my money.
Yes.
No,
Yes.
but I'll put I don't think I need these this week, and I can hold off on this for this week. Oh, fucking bottle I've been looking for. Let's go.
Yeah.
Take it.
Didn't you guys
Take my
get
money.
on the President's Choice release yesterday from Old Forester, by the way?
Oh, so yeah, pretty much our whole group got a bottle. At first I went to go get it, and then it kept backfiring, and then I kind of just gave up on it. And then Ian, one of our members, was like, "It's back up, get up on there." And they were available for pretty much the whole night. You guys get one?
Yeah, it was.
No, I forgot to do it.
I forgot. See, what about that 13th Colony that came out Friday? 13th
That
I missed
was
that
Colony.
one
actually
too.
that one was almost impossible to get.
What were they selling the President's Choice for? I don't remember. 200?
It was
I think what, $269.
it was 225 for the bottle, but then you actually, depending on where you were shipping it to, and they only shipped to like 4 or 5 states, you actually had to pay the alcohol tax for that state, and then shipping. Ended up being for me to actually buy one and all stuff, it was $269 total for that one bottle.
Like, I really want that President's Choice, but like, I literally, my buddy Ian is stationed in Omaha, Nebraska right now, and Nebraska happened to be one of the states on the list. I'm like, fuck, I guess I got to have it, sent to you. But because
Well,
John, you and I, after the dry run Friday night, were up so late, I slept through the 10 o'clock window.
I was awake because I don't sleep anyways. So 4 hours is actually a good night's sleep for me. So,
Not me.
but I was chasing President's Choice for a good almost 4 years. So the first time I actually wanted to get one was back in 2022, 23, and it was 23, I think. So 3 years. So I actually got a bottle, and a buddy of mine couldn't actually get it. The site crashed and whatever, and so he was really distraught, and he was going through some tough times. So I sent him the bottle, and so it was a cool little thing. And then ever since then, I've tried to actually get another one, and it's always been site crashes or they sell out really quick because I forget to get on. So this time, I went on, and I was actually in the preload section. I was sitting there. It started counting down. I was getting excited. I sat there for about an hour just staring at a countdown, waiting for it. Got in, got to be able to pick the bottle that I wanted, stuck it in my cart, put all my information in, because you only have about 5 minutes to do it before it resets, and then your bottle goes to somebody else. So I did everything, got it all done, went to go and hit purchase now, and the box just sat there. Didn't move, didn't do anything. So here I am thinking, crap, it's crashed again. And sure enough, it did. It crashed. A lot of people actually just kind of got pissed off and quit, rage quit, and threw their laptops across the room or whatever. So I was doing the same thing. I kind of got disappointed, and it's like, well, here's to year number 4 of me not getting one. And then shortly after, it wasn't Ian, it was Jason, one of our group members, messaged me privately. He says, it's back up and they actually are in stock. And so it's like, no, you're lying to me. So I log in, go in, and boom. And then he actually, Jason actually went and was telling everybody else in the group and told Ian, and I think Ian told everybody else. But it went around and all stuff. And sure enough, while I was still sitting there talking with Jason and all stuff, I went in, picked the bottle I wanted, filled out all the information, hit purchase now, and it went through. And I just, it was one of those euphoric moments of like dopamine where it's like, I just got something that I've been chasing for 4 damn years. And all stuff is like, the best feeling in the world. So it was kind of cool because I have pretty much almost all Old Forester bottles except for that one. I had it in my hand and I gave it away. So it was one of those things where it's like I just wanted to actually have it as a sentimental bottle, as something cool, and for myself. And so I don't usually spend a lot of money on bottles. I will never spend on secondary. I will never go over. Me and my wife agreed that like my spending limit for bottles is about like $300. So I try to stick around that.
That's fair.
So, but yeah, getting that bottle was kind of fun. It was, it lifted me up. It made me have a great day. It made me dress up like a John Travolta with a really bad blonde wig and all stuff and go to Jason's birthday party yesterday. And
That was a good time.
Listen,
it was a great time.
No homo. I think you look great as a blonde.
If you want, I actually have pictures. I'll send them to you.
Oh my God, put it back on.
Yeah.
We've kind of been talking about. So, why do you think people connect so deeply over this hobby? Why do we come together so easily? Why is it so easy to talk to somebody that's into bourbon? Obviously, because of the juice and stuff. But is it more because like we've all kind of gone through the same type of things? I feel like everyone in this community has gone through some, pretty dark stuff, and for some reason, that just makes it easier to kind of talk and connect on the same levels.
I want to take this question up. And John and I were talking a bit the other night after the dry run politically and stuff. John and I don't necessarily see eye to eye politically, but
I see the right side. He sees the wrong side.
Yeah, exactly. But it was respectful conversation. But at the same time, like as divided as the world is today, with people keeping to their tribes, to put it as succinctly as I can, you bond over this common interest, whiskey, cigars, motorcycles, guns. Yeah, liberals own guns. It's crazy. It's something like it's to the common interest that you might not agree. Like I feel like so much of the world's problems these days comes down to like, listen, we all agree this is a problem, where we disagree is how to fix it, right? But you have these common interests, and to sit down, like so much of what has been lost in the world today is civil discourse. To be able to have, the harder conversations without being an asshole, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like you got all the keyboard warriors saying stuff online that you'd never say to someone's face. Something like bourbon, right, or cigars, or more. It's the great equalizer. Like you realize you share so much in common with people from every different race, religion, sexual orientation, creed, what have you. It's the great equalizer. You can talk to somebody you might not agree with on anything politically speaking, but what you do agree on is this. You know, and it's the great equalizer. It brings people together because when you share that common interest with somebody, you don't care what the hell they think politically. You don't, you know what I mean? Like you don't care about that because at the end of the day, what you have is you have this common thing, for interest, and it brings people together. It allows you to bring back civil discourse, especially in this world that we have today of social media and echo chambers and really just hatred and vitriol online. This is something that brings people together. It's like, you get the 24-hour news cycle these days, and basically, depending on what network you watch, you're getting rage baited 24/7. And this is like basically good news. It's something that you can go, hey, this is awesome. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And you have that shared connection, you have that shared humanity, and you come together and you can drink and you can just enjoy each other's company without worrying about politics or anything else that's going on in the world, because you have this shared interest. You're together, and you're just enjoying the time you spend together. And that to me is the biggest thing. It's this shared sense of community that you all have this shared interest, these shared things, these shared experiences. Every one of us can point to a bottle that we've had at some point where, this is why it means so much to me. Like Matt, you and your stag with John. For me, the GTS, the first ever allocated bottle I ever got, stuff like that. You have that shared interest, you have that shared camaraderie, and it brings people together. And speaking of your brother-in-law, John, we touched on it earlier, just the videos that you and I made to direct people towards the GoFundMe, towards the Amazon wish list. We didn't advertise, we didn't pay to boost those things. Those got natural views, natural reactions, without having to advertise. And that just goes to show that this community that we have with each other and everyone else across Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, what have you, it transcends all that, because everyone can look and go, holy shit, that's awful. How can I help? It brings people together.
Right.
It's not this divisive thing. It's the great equalizer, and that's why I love it so much. Like, prior to getting on Instagram, I've been on Instagram for 3 months. I didn't have much of a following in YouTube. We were exclusively on YouTube for months.
Yeah.
And since joining Instagram and then branching out to TikTok and Facebook, I mean, just the camaraderie, the fellowship, it's been second to none, especially on Instagram. And prior to being on Instagram, I didn't know you. John, I didn't know you either. And just recently bringing us all together over this shared experience, it's been incredible. It's been a lot of fun. It's been such a great time. And it's been such a cool realization that no matter where you live, okay, and I'm not just talking about the United States, I've talked to people from other countries. It's
Right.
you have that shared experience that transcends politics, that transcends borders. You know what I mean? Like, it's this great equalizer, and it brings so many people together, and that is why I love it so much. Like again, as
I
you
don't
guys
think
said,
there's
it's more than what's in the glass.
exactly. I was gonna say I don't really think I have anything else to add to that. You kind of nailed that pretty well. That was spot on. That's nail on the head. There's no better answer than exactly what you just said. And for example, I mean, I don't know you through a hole in the wall. We met a couple of months, not even a couple months ago, maybe a month and a half ago. And it literally was just me finding a bottle you guys have been looking for. I don't Send me the money. I'll ship it right out to you, man. Like, absolutely.
I know,
Want
I
you guys
just
to enjoy it.
I met Rob just the other night, and Eric, this is the first time I've actually been meeting you. So, and it's again,
Yeah.
it's over this spirit,
And
and
now, I
that's
mean, I
No,
talk to Rob almost every day now too. I got a phone number.
we had a great conversation back and forth yesterday morning, finding out that we had a similar background in EMS.
yep.
It's just such a small world. But, kind of building on what you were talking about before, kind of with, men's health and our mental health specifically, all of us would, easily admit that it's not easily talking about our feelings. That's a female thing. But going to and my wife, Rob's mom, we've been married for a little over 15 years now. We've had our ups and downs and stuff. But none of us are about to admit that, oh yeah, I'm going to go right to therapy.
Right.
I get, my Thursday night, even, on our Sunday afternoons, Thursday night, my friend Justin and stuff like that. That's my therapy session. We sit and bond over a good bottle, and we talk about, his up and downs with his wife, my up and downs with my wife, and we kind of get those feelings out, talk about some of the similar stuff that we're going through, kids and that sort of thing. Granted, his kids are, 2 and 4, and my wife and our kids are. How old are you now, Rob?
Shut up.
Call me
and,
daddy.
and my
Daddy.
youngest is 22. So
But
Yeah.
touching on what he's saying there, and maybe you guys feel the same, but for whatever reason, I feel like men on the whole have an easier time opening up to each other than we do
to a
our
stranger.
significant. Well, even no,
Yeah.
another man that's a stranger too, than we do
I'm
our
gonna.
significant others, like the other men. Like,
Yeah.
would you guys
I'll put
agree with
this
that?
out
And if
there.
so, why?
100%. I fully agree with that. 100%. And I'll put this out there and all stuff is, this is kind of my view, and I've put written blogs about this and whatever. But when you are a man growing up, dealing with the stuff that you're actually growing up with or dealing with, in your house, you actually have your own little demons inside your head. Okay. When you are with your spouse or whatever, the fact that you actually have those demons, you don't want to open up to your significant other, to your wife, because you know that she cares about you. You know that she actually is going to start worrying about it, and now your demons are now her demons. And so a lot of us guys don't want to put that burden on our significant other. So it's easier to actually go to, a couple of guys that are actually like just sitting there drinking bourbon and all stuff and hearing them open up saying they have similar demons. And so you're not actually burdening them with demons. You're just reiterating, you're realizing that every other male out there is probably dealing with the same kind of demons that you're going.
Right.
So it is a form of therapy, because
Yeah.
you're now talking to somebody
Absolutely.
that you're not giving them your demons. You are actually talking about a shared demon, and so I think
Right.
that's
And to a certain
the big
extent, all
difference
men
between
go
the two.
through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I feel like a big stigma is a lot of guys that, because you hear women say all the time, "I just wish you'd open up to me." And this is not all women, okay? This is your broad brushstrokes, right? That when you finally open up to them, you can be seen as less than. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I just
Yeah.
wish you were more emotionally available, and then you open up and you get shit on for it. And
Well, not just shit
again,
on and all stuff, but
not
then you get
like
that pity feeling. You get that pity feeling, and
right.
and so that's
I
a
hate
lot
that
of the things
feeling, man.
that hurts more than being shunned a lot of the times, because a lot of us guys have that thick
Yes.
skin where we can actually deal with the negativity of it. It's that feeling weak, the feeling of pity, the feeling of that being directed towards you, kind of it hurts you as a man more than than anybody calling you a trans or dick lover, whatever you want to call it and all stuff. There, yeah, I'm looking at YouTube, but whatever.
I was too.
So we gotta cut that, whatever. But the
No,
feeling
no, we're
is
not. No, we're
no, we're
not.
not.
I didn't flash no card.
Yeah. But yeah, it's
We can
it's
joke
it's
it.
that feeling. It's that feeling. It feels worse when you're actually being pitied and feeling that you're weak. When you're supposed to be the one that's
Right.
the rock for your tribe. So it is
I've been through
definitely
so
one of those
much.
things that what.
I was gonna say I've been through so much in my life that like I'm so sick of feeling the pity. Like I don't like it. Like I'm so sick of people
Yeah.
feeling bad for me because it's every time they think of me, it's like, oh, like that poor kid, he's going through so much shit. Like I just want someone to be happy for me. It's like be proud. Like,
Right. Yeah.
but I just,
Like,
because I'm
yeah.
constantly going
Sometimes you
through
see the
shit. It's just
vent.
like literally my life has just been like one thing after another, and it just never seems to end. I'm just so sick of like every time someone comes up to me, it's like, how are you? Like, obviously it's, I'm glad that they're asking and they care, but like it's in the back of my head, I'm just sick of hearing it because it's like, I'm going to be happy eventually. Like, but I'm just really tired of it's just the pittiness. I can't stand it. Again, like you were saying, it starts to make you feel weak after a while. It's just
Yeah.
like every time I see somebody, it's like they see me and I'm just like,
Like shit, like me
bummed
and you,
out.
for example, I'll ask you about how things are going with John and stuff, right? Like, but I won't
Yeah.
make that the focus of our conversation because I know I would not want to talk about it all the time, shoe on the other
Right.
foot. Basically, like it's the baseline of me checking in, and then you
Yeah.
tell me what's going on, but you're okay, and then I'm like, fuck yeah, let's talk about this. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I'm right there with you. Like, sometimes you just need to vent. Sometimes you need to let that frustration that's building up
Right.
out, and then once it's out, you're good. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you let it out. Okay, good. I got that out. It's not bottling up inside of me now. Let's have a good day.
Yep.
And I feel like overall, men get that, whereas most women don't. And that's not
Right.
like me being sexist. It's because at the end of the day, men and women are wired different. It just is what it is. We're wired different,
Right.
and that's not a knock. They're wired a certain way, and we're wired a certain way. Crash, I'm not sure what he's wired as. He's over there sleeping in I think he's half woman. He's got a micro penis. But he woke up to flip me off. But at the end of the day, like genuinely, like jokes
Yeah.
aside, we are wired differently. Men and women are wired differently, and I feel that for men especially, the best way that we can let that frustration out is with each other. Because on the other end of the line, you got someone that is dealing with something similar and can relate, and B, that isn't gonna freaking just beat into your head. Oh my god, bro, I'm so sorry, yada yada yada. Like, it's like, listen, I hear what you're saying. Praying for you, whatever. Hey man, you want to go drink some whiskey, or hey, you want to go kill some zombies? You know what I mean? Like shit like that. Like,
Yeah.
let's take our minds off and let's go have a good time together and forget about all the bullshit. And
Right.
that's really something you can only get with other men for the most part.
What I do, I get together with a bunch of other men that wear skirts. We play music and drink.
This
Oh, I thought the
conversation can
fuck.
go so many different ways.
Well,
So,
Brokeback Mountain 2,
so going into the next
Bagpipers.
question, we'll start kind of wrapping this up too. But final little thought here is, what advice would you give to like newer whiskey drinkers? Someone just getting into the journey. What would you tell them?
First and foremost, get on Instagram, start following as many, like-minded people as you can, start, my biggest thing, when we got on there was following
Stuff.
different groups that are like-minded. Some of the same similar traits as myself. Like you guys. Whiskey Weather was one of the big ones I started following. A couple other ones that I could identify. A lot of the same palate. Taste. A lot of the same. Whiskeys and stuff that they tried. And I'm like, yeah, I completely agree with that. And then, go from there, branch out, just start watching as many different reviews, buy what you can afford. Don't don't just run out and say, "Oh, I've got to buy that
Right.
$150 bottle." There's so many, for me personally, and I've said it on our page, I'm about finding that best bottle that I can for under $50. Once in a while, yeah, I'm going to splurge a little bit and I'll spend a little bit more money. But there is so many different things that are out there, under that $50 price range that you can stock your shelves and you can completely enjoy.
Yeah, and to piggyback on what Piper said, one of my idols, so to speak, in the I don't want to say the spirits industry, but just what we do, like what we do on here with spirits. Is Scout at Bourbon and Guns. I mean, he's on Instagram, but his main following is on YouTube. And before we started this, he wasn't up to 1,000 subs or nothing on YouTube. So I messaged him because I like his format and stuff. Asked for advice and all that. We reset each other, and then we ended up being friends on Facebook and stuff, and we still check in with each other. But like that was my big inspiration because like when we first started thinking like this would be a cool thing to do, I reached out to him because he wasn't big yet. You know what I mean? Like so I figured, as opposed to trying to reach out to like SLB Drinks or Bruzel or something like that, they'd be more willing to talk to somebody such as me that didn't have skin in the game yet. And that's what was the impetus for us starting this channel was getting the advice from him. And so, talking to other people, talking, like he was saying, following people with similar interests and talking to these people and getting ideas, that is my biggest bit of advice as well. Because like he's saying, you don't have to go out and buy that $150, $200 bottle. I mean, there's lots to be enjoyed for a budget. Like, don't sit there and make yourself go bankrupt in pursuit of a hobby. You know what I mean? Like, figure out what your palate is first. Figure out what type of stuff that you like before you start delving into the more expensive side of things. Because, if your palate's a certain way and you buy an expensive bottle of whiskey that doesn't match your palate, well, then you've just wasted all that money.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So
I was actually going to get into that too. Like, take your time. Take your time getting into it. Don't rush out and buy those allocated bottles. Like, obviously, if you see them and they're a good price, and because eventually you're going to dip into a Weller's, you know what I mean? But again, watch these people, do the reviews, like all the Instagrams and stuff like that. Just see, gain as much knowledge as you can. Again, for these under $50 bottles, like I just lifted this one, like the Evan Williams Bottle and Bond, amazing. It's under $50. John put me onto the JW Dan. It's a $15 bottle. You can only get in Kentucky, unfortunately, but if I had access to that, that would be my daily drinker all the time, and it's an amazing bottle.
So you want to feel bad about a daily drinker that's $15 because, like, oh man, I got a restock. Here's $15.
That's like recently, like a month ago, discovered the Old Forester signature 100 proof, $28 bottle. Absolutely
Such a good bottle.
Fantastic bottle.
Sitting
Is
over
it
there.
the best thing since sliced bread? Yeah, perfect.
Yes.
Is it the best thing since sliced bread? No. Is it
really?
damn good
This
for a
is
daily
because
drinker?
you can drink this, like you can mix this, you can drink it neat, you can drink it on ice. No matter how you drink this, this is an absolute banger. Love that bottle.
And for the price, you can't beat
Forest
it.
is really what got me into.
Same thing for the old school Early Times Bottle and Bond, the Brown Foreman version. Oh, there we go. John's got one too. Perfect.
Yes.
But one's a rye.
I got a partial one. I got a backup sitting in my.
Well, if you like, it's the 100 proof rye. I'm not a big rye fan.
Yes.
That is actually a good bottle.
But that makes a really good old fashioned.
Great old fashioned.
Funny side note, I ended up buying a 100 proof bottle of that back in March. So the second weekend of March, for our pipe band, we go to Scranton, Pennsylvania. That by volume, so meaning the number of participants is the second largest St. Patty's Day parade in the country. And we are the lead pipe band in that parade. So we end up going down on a Friday night. We pregame, hang out, etc. Saturday, we get up, we do the parade. Afterwards, then we have a couple hours in between. And then the parade committee comes and gets us with a shuttle bus. And then they ship us all over the city of Scranton to all of the major parade sponsors. So all of those, restaurants and bars that cough up, several $1,000s sponsorship money to get and pay for all the participants. So then we spend from 4 o'clock in the afternoon until usually 9 o'clock at night, crisscrossing the city of Scranton, Pennsylvania, with a police lights and siren police escort to all of these major parade sponsors. But I ended up having a bottle of that Old Forester rye I took down with me this year, just specifically because Old Fashioned is our cocktail of choice for the pipe band. And
Right.
one of our members, one of the drummers, our drum sergeant Steve, he ended up going to Kentucky back in September for the festival last year. And while he was down there, he was at one of the restaurants, had an old fashioned. He goes, "That's the best old fashioned I've ever had." He goes, what's the recipe? And the waiter goes, "Well, it has to do with the syrup." And Steve's like, I need to know this recipe. And he's like, I don't know. So the waiter's like, him and Han, and Steve's like, "Dude, I will give you a very sizable tip if you can get me this recipe." So the waiter ends up going back, waiting to the opportune moment, flips through the recipe book, takes a screenshot of it, comes back out, gives it to Steve. So Steve ends up giving the guy a nice $100 tip and comes away with this awesome Demura simple syrup recipe.
Demerara.
Sorry.
Demerara. Yep.
I get it wrong too all the time. But speaking of which, quick shout out to Sink or Swim.
Yes,
they
I
make
was
barrel
that. I was ready to do this. I want to shout out Sink Your Swim.
So
Mine's sitting over there.
yeah, we did.
Well, I'm glad we all have it because I know John does too. But shout out to Sink or Swim.
So basically, take that, Matt. Take that recipe there. Add some cinnamon, some cloves, a few other things that Steve puts in there, and you'll have Steve's recipe.
Yeah, I mean, because I'll tell you right now,
Absolutely fantastic old fashioned with that. And I know I kind of got off on a tangent, but that's what I ended up buying the Old Forester rye for, was to pair with Steve's. He made a gallon of that recipe there for the entire weekend, and I ended up that bottle of Old Forester rye. I never ended up having an old fashioned with it, and I ended up leaving the bottle there, and I never got to have any of it after that.
well, I'm going to pick it up then, because we actually reviewed this finally for the channel today, and we paired it with we used the Status Foolproof for the rye to mix with it. It was fantastic. And he said it's the second best old fashioned he's ever had. This is like my best old fashioned he's ever had. It's his favorite behind Steve's.
Yeah.
But I mean, listen, guys, Dan at Sinker Ship and Trading Company, I'm plugging him right now. I mean, my Lord. He barrel ages it for at least 3 months. I have batch 3. I'm not sure what batch you have, but it's small batch stuff. He makes batches.
It was fantastic.
Well, it's been awesome, guys, to actually have you on. Thank you for joining us. And, the biggest takeaway from this is whiskey should add to your life. It shouldn't become the thing holding your life together. Okay? It's make sure that you're the one driving the hobby, not the hobby driving you. So if you feel like you're having an issue, you're feeling like you're getting too deep into it, try a dry week, or try pulling back a little bit just to see how it goes. But take care of yourselves. Check in on your friends, and remember, it's more than what's in the glass.
Butterfly in the sky, you can go twice as high. Take your life, it's in a bring, breeding rainbow. I can go anywhere, blazing to go, leading rainbow. Reading rainbow.